Hi Merlyn, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you for having me.
So would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your involvement with the creative arts?
I certainly can. So I'm Merlyn Griffiths and I have a little business called the Littlest Falcon, which is named after me because the Merlyn's the smallest bird of prey. I make mainly animal art in various media, mainly lino cut and now painting too. And yeah, I tend to, I do it sort of half of my week, the other half I work as a stained glass conservator for a company in York. And I, do sell online. I sell at markets when I'm allowed to leave the house, which isn't so often these days. And I've got a big trade fair next year, my first ever trade fair. So things are kind of slowly creeping bigger every year, but I just love it. Yeah.
That's brilliant. So how did all this start? Is it something you've always done? Did you have a creative background?
Yeah, well, my mum was an art teacher when I was growing up. My parents are both really arty and they're really talented pair. And I, always did it. I never wasn't making things when I was little. And I always thought, I'll be an illustrator, or I'll be an artist, or, anything in the creative arts industry. And then I did art at sixth form, and I did foundation art diploma, and I did lots of painting for that. But then I decided I was going to go and do a more academic degree. So I did history of art in York. And then that gradually kind of turned into doing a master's in stained glass conservation, and I kind of went into that industry. And although that's quite a creative job in a way, it's also quite scientific, and I didn't ever do anything of my own. And I think I started realising about 5 years ago, I had this weird moment where I was like, I don't have anything anymore. I feel like something's missing. And I did a painting, I thought, why not? I'll have a go. And then again, nothing for ages. But a couple of years ago, I think 3 Christmases ago, my mum got me a lino cut kit. And honestly, from that minute, I was just hooked, and I haven't stopped doing it since. And it's really taken over. I've gone part-time at work. I have a little studio. I feel like I found myself properly, which is amazing.
Oh, that's brilliant, because I normally have a question about why do you do art, but it's quite that it seems like it's something that's come from within you.
I just can't explain it. Yeah, it's really, I can't be without it now. It's all I do.
Well, this is terrific, and it's brilliant to see that you're starting to make a living out of it.
Thank you.
Obviously, lockdown's had a bit of a knock effect on that, but just really interesting to see how many people are making a living in the creative arts that just isn't. Most people kind of think, it's a fun thing that you do for yourself, when actually it's a massive contributor to our economy.
Yeah. It does surprise me how many people, well, it shouldn't surprise me, it doesn't really surprise me, but the amount of people I know who had it as, started doing it, I suppose, as a hobby like I did, but in the last year have really created bigger businesses out of it. I think because I suppose I've had a bit more time in the house or wherever they make things, and it's just it's so good for the soul. I feel like people have just really delved into doing more arty things, and people want to buy it. There's so much more of a sort of support small business vibe in the last few months that I think it's just really made people reassess their lives and think what they want to do to make them really, really happy, or what they want to have in their house, maybe, or wear, or something that brings them joy. And just to be able to provide a little thing that somebody might think, I really like that, is just such a blessing, really.
Absolutely. And I think there's a couple of things happening. There's art, I think, is being taken out of the hands of the huge galleries.
Definitely.
That there's this system of it's like you got to be in the other thing that you finally get, and then you're allowed to be sold in galleries. I think with like things like the independent art spaces that are opening up here but everywhere, where it's not like that. It's not like a class, intimidating sort of thing where posh people go. Gallery spaces are for all, and they're warm and welcoming, and so there's people thinking that they can be involved in art, both as makers and as people that would want to go and see and buy art. But also, I think also this awareness of shopping local and buying, and not getting, you know, something that's been reprinted a million times and everyone's got one in their house. It's like realizing the value of a bespoke piece of art.
Definitely. I think I find, especially when I'm making things and sort of pricing them, I like to have it so it's accessible. Even if someone just buys a little greetings card and frames it, I love that, because I just think I like that it is something that, you know, anyone can have, anyone can buy. And as for like community spaces, Cornerstone in Darlington, I had an exhibition there over earlier in the year, and that was brilliant. You know, I've really enjoyed doing that, and just going somewhere where people are interested in seeing what you do. And like you said, you know, it's not a sort of exclusive, expensive, only a certain type of person can get in. You know, it's brilliant as a community space, and for something that, I mean, it's brought me a lot actually just exhibiting in that community. You know, I mean, I wouldn't have done this if I hadn't done a commission for someone who saw my work in Cornerstone. You know, it's amazing the web of connections that comes from it, and that's what matters really. You know, it's not about, you know, being this posh artist who only certain people can kind of access. It's nice to know that, you know, I'm getting something and someone else is getting something from what I do, and it's just a really, really great community to be part of.
Totally, absolutely. It's really, really inspiring that all the things that are going on all around at the moment. I mean, that Cornerstone building, you know, now being an art space is just like, wow.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's huge.
Yeah, and all of these different places, you know, old shops, banks, being, you know, reclaimed by the arts is really, really exciting times. And I hope, you know, once we come out of this, that we can really start making new spaces.
Me too.
So the way you work, is it do people come to you with commissions with ideas and you make designs that they request, or do you have your own ideas and then sort of exhibit and sell them? How do you normally work?
Well, it started very much as sort of commissions. So people I know would say, oh, can you do me a nightingale? Can you do me my cat? And so most of my lino prints would be commission based, and then they'd say, you know, you can sell extra copies. So my kind of portfolio is built on doing things for people and selling others. But now it's very much with the lino printing, it's very much what I want to do really. And I think I get a bit more creativity with that in a way. You know, I kind of can have more of my own style. I noticed previously when it was doing commissions, they were a bit more, I had to make them look like the animal, whereas I go a bit off piste slightly with things now. I've kind of been well, you can see this owl behind me, that's going to become a lino print soon, and so I'm using my painting, which is a bit more expressionistic, I suppose, as a basis for my lino prints, which gives them a bit more freedom because it's quite a rigid media. But actually during lockdown, one of the things I sort of rediscovered was painting, and so I've been doing lots of watercolour paintings, and that kind of took off in the pet portrait commission route, and so I tend to find that I'll do more commissions in paint and more things for myself in print. So that's pretty much how it works.
And yeah, I suppose we have to do the whole lockdown thing. Obviously you're still thriving, that's brilliant. But has it affected your plans and what you do, and have you planned a way out of it, or are you just seeing how things go at the moment?
It definitely affected things. I think initially I thought, right, 2020 is going to be the year I really put myself out there and do lots of different, not just like smaller craft kind of fairs, but some big art shows. And I had my first trade show was going to happen in April. Obviously everything got cancelled, and you know, you turn very much to selling on the internet, even though I did that anyway. I really kind of amped up that, and then the commission side of things, just because I had a bit more time, and it was like a coping mechanism. I think I wouldn't have been able to do well. I wouldn't have been all right if I hadn't had this to do, I don't think. Whereas I feel like I've just tried to enjoy doing things that make me happy, and you know, that's been art. So I've been fortunate that that's sort of worked in a business sense, and people have bought things or commissioned me to make things, which has been a huge, you know, very, very grateful for that, so thankful. But I think I've mainly just been doing it for myself to keep me going, so I'm not really sure how I'm going to work my way out of it. And I think I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing, and hopefully the world will change around me.
But yes, that'd be lovely if it did, wouldn't it? I mean, it's been interesting this we started doing these interviews at the start of July, so it's
Yeah.
been like such a
gosh, yeah, you'll have seen
like being in the midst, and then everyone thinking we're coming out, and then back in, and it's like, you know,
yeah,
run
that's
around.
it. I think I have to kind of I'm sort of one of those people who needs to hide themselves away a little bit, I think, in order to cope. You know, I stay in touch with the outside world, and obviously I have to go to work still in York, so I do leave the house. But yeah, I think if I'm too in the world, I get a bit anxious. Whereas if I'm too secluded, probably can be exactly the same. But I think it's, yeah, having a kind of bolt hole and a thing to concentrate on has really helped me, definitely.